Yo, what's up, guys? Today I'm going to be posting a Trinity video. I scoured through all my comments, and unfortunately I can't credit who requested this, but this is a viewer request. You know who you are if you're watching. Thank you for suggesting Trinity. It's actually nice, too, because it allowed me to revisit Trinity and try out some new helmets on her, because unfortunately before I was just using Nourish. So I get to go back and revisit her and try out some new helmets, and I had a lot of fun. Uh, Trinity was actually the very first frame I ever used in this game because it was a Twitch Prime drop back in the day. So she is my second most used Warframe, and by this gameplay you're about to see, you wouldn't expect that. That's all I'll say. I don't reflect it. So yeah, I mean, let's talk about Trinity and let me show the builds and show you what we're using in this video. This is also a little bit of a showcase for the Kuva Kohm, which I find an extremely strong weapon. I might even highlight it again in a future weapons video. But this is going to be my weapon of choice on Trinity today. So, this Trinity build, we are using over her one, marked for death. If you guys don't know how her 2 works, it does true damage. That was so bad, by the way. That was like the worst cut or whatever that was. Um, but true damage is really strong when paired with marked for death. You can do some pretty incredible things based off of the enemy's HP. I'll show this off right now. Like, let's say if I have an Exogoxid officer, really strong enemy, let's do some like corrupted butchers. And then we'll do this against an actual just regular group so you guys can see how this works properly. But I press my 1 on this guy, marking him for death, and then now I press my 2 on him. Everybody's dead. So, pretty cool. Definitely an interesting build route for Trinity. Notably, other things that are available with this are using like a high status weapon with minus damage on it and stacking up a bunch of status and then using your 2, and it absolutely will nuke any enemy ever. Like, you don't need to worry about marking the higher HP targets. Lower HP targets, it'll also kill all the nearby ones with that. But I'm not going to show that off in today's video, but I'm going to link a build with that in my description. His name's Moog. He's really awesome. I check him out if you guys want to see that. I'm gonna be focusing on less I don't know how to describe this. That build's amazing, but I feel like showing that off might dissuade people from building Trinity in the first place. So I'm just gonna go ahead and show this off. But that's our helmet of choice, and that's our interaction that we're aiming for with the helmet. Let's talk more about Energy Vampire though. Energy Vampire is extremely strong. This is going to give so much energy, like so much energy, so much to the point where we don't have to build any more energy economy in our kit as long as we are mindfully using this. Uh, I wish Trinity had a higher like energy cap, but she does not, unfortunately. We are using Prime Flow to boost it up as much as possible, but it's still only 641. Like, I would love if she had like an energy pool of 800, so then I could be more flexible on when I'm using my 2, but we're gonna be actually using it a lot. So that's why I think this Mark for Death combo is pretty fun. Not always gonna work perfectly in gameplay. I'm gonna be completely honest with you guys, but it is an option and it's fun, so why not use it? It allows you to kill with your abilities. Third ability, Link. Link, we are using an augment as well. This is going to allow us to armor reduce the enemies that we are linked to. It's pretty funky. I'll just show it off real quick. This is going to put damage redirection on the enemies here. But like, so if they're shooting me, if anybody here's shooting me, the damage is going to get redirected to these guys. And combine the fact that they're armor stripped, I now turn off their paused AI. They're going to be damaging themselves, so that's pretty cool. I actually don't know what's going on there. It seems like they're rad proc too. This is a fiasco. But Link is super strong, and this scales with ability strength, which we are building copious amounts of on this build. We get all the way up to 9 enemies linked, which is really great. And the 75% damage redirection does stack with our 4, which we're going to move on to next. Our 4 gives 75% damage reduction. If you combine this with a little bit of shield survivability, shields have base 50% damage reduction. And then adaptation, that's going to be 50, 90, 75, and 75. Basically, it's a lot of damage reduction. Let's go ahead and show that off real quick against a corrupted battle group. As you guys can see, for Steel Path, we are not going to be having issues with survivability here. At all. At all. This is really incredible, and I know just not dying is really not that impressive, but it's also the fact that you can also keep your teammates from dying, and notably, companions from dying. This will also shield restore your companions, and they will also receive 75% damage reduction. The way this ability works is it doesn't scale off range, it's based off your affinity range. So you could actually boost your affinity range with what is it? Azarin? To make this ability have more range. We're not doing that currently in today's video, but that is an option. If you guys want to, you can absolutely do that. But as you guys can see, survivability, definitely not a problem. Go ahead and get rid of these guys here. Notably, as well, something that's going to maybe entice you guys to play Trinity a little bit more. When you have Link up, you have knockdown immunity, which allows us to not use Prime Sure-Footed on this build. It's incredible. It's really, really nice. I don't think enough people talk about how nice that is on Trinity, because you're going to always want to have your Link up anyways, because the damage redirection and the armor strip, which is just nice, because it's also going to be killing people. If enemies with high enough damage are shooting you, those enemies that you're linked to are just going to die because they're armor stripped. So getting towards higher level content, this is actually really good. And speaking of higher level content, let's kind of talk a little bit about that right now. Blessing. This is going to be good always. This is an immediate shield restore. This is going to work at any level of the game. Notably, what else is going to work at any level of the game is going to be your energy vampire and mark for death, because this is true damage. It's incredibly strong. This will work for ever, as long as you're tagging an enemy with a high enough HP pool to kill the nearby enemies. Because that's the way Mark for Death was working. Let me just show that off and show what it's like if you go ahead and link like a low HP enemy. Let's also turn off their AI, so this is a little bit easier to show off. Pause AI. If I use my 1 on this guy and then use my 2, we're not going to kill anybody. But if I use my 1 on this guy and then use my 2, you're going to see that all the lower HP enemies are going to die. So that is something to note. As you guys can see, it's not going to kill every enemy. If you want to put Roar on this and just use Energy Vampire to kill without the Mark for Death, you could do that. Roar is, in my opinion, a little bit more boring, and I think this interaction is a little bit more fun, especially if you want to push for it even harder, like I talked about that negative damage driven and stacking up statuses. I know Moog does it with his Kuva Core. Go ahead and check out that video if that sounds interesting to you, as that will work for any array of HP enemies. You don't need to worry about linking to specifically tankier enemies. Okay. Let's move on to the build now that we've talked about the abilities. We are notably making a companion build. And we talked about how this affects your companion, and it is just really amazing. Our companion of choice today is going to be the the Pharaoh Predasite. Here's our mod build. Only mod that is doing anything too crazy here is going to be Contagious Bond, Duplex Bond, and Anabolic Pollination. These are really strong. These are where you see those crazy videos where people are doing like I saw a video the other day with Kohm using Contagious Bond, and they were doing like 18 septillion damage, which is just like the most insane thing ever. If you guys have not used Contagious Bond and you don't know how this works with the Kubro mecha set, I'll just tell you guys you're missing out. It is literally insane. don't really understand how this is an interaction that is still in the game. I'm not encouraging DE to remove it because I do think it's fun killing with your companions and super buffing them, especially with Citron now. Uh, if you guys want to see some Citron coverage and see something even stronger than this, we can do a video on that. If you guys want to, just let me know in the comments. Um, but this is extremely strong. Let's talk about the mecha set. So companion marks a target every 15 seconds for 12 seconds. Killing the target applies their status effects to all enemies within 30 meters. Now, if we go look what Contagious Bond does, when your enemy kills an or when your companion kills an enemy afflicted by a status effect, the status effect spreads to other enemies within 9 meters, max 100 stacks. Guys, this is if there are enemies, this cascade will never end. There just has to be enemies within 9 meters. Uh, this can lead to sometimes really crazy stuff going on and sometimes maybe a little bit more tame. But at its highest end, this is just literally the highest damage you can get to in the game, as far as I know. So, really incredibly strong. We have a shield build here. Shield recharge delay. This is going to be really nice for keeping your dog up if you're not using your 4. Uh, Mecha set also gives shield recharge, which is incredibly nice. We're using every single mecha set, so we're marking enemies as often as possible. This precept mod's really great because this is going to give us toxin damage. So that's nice to damage boost. It's cool. Momentous Bond is nice for bringing your companion back to life. If he ever goes down, you don't want to revive him yourself. The clones are incredibly strong with this. It's just going to be more DPS here. We are also using Reinforced Bond because we are already default at that limit. This is just going to be a free 60% fire rate. And reloading also gives 150 shields to your companion. So getting back to 1,200 is pretty easy, even if they're being shot at, especially because you're always restoring their shields with your 4th ability. We're also using Fetch, Forge. What is Forge? We're using Fetch and we're using Loyal Retriever. Just two nice mods to have. If you want to use different stuff, you can go for it. Let's move on to the Claws build. We have Viral, Slash, and Gas. This is so incredibly strong. Make sure you mod in this order, not specifically, but at least with the elementals so you don't mess up like which elementals you're making. Just keep moving your mods around until you get the Slash, Viral, Gas. These are my mods that I'm using. What I found works best for me. Another mecha mod here, notably, just to continue lowering the time it takes for your companion to mark another enemy. By default, it's 60 seconds. Each mod you add is going to reduce another 15 seconds. So, super duper strong. Let's talk about our weapon that we're going to be using today. We're using the Kuva Kohm. This is not the best build for the Kuva Kohm. This is just what I have been using, and I also realized the strength of Primary Crux on this. The Kuva Kohm, as far as I know, is the highest status chance shotgun in the game. It does not have multiplicative CO, but it kind of doesn't matter with how many statuses you're putting onto enemies. Right here we have base damage, galvanized savvy, which is gun CO. This is going to be going crazy, especially with the fact that we're going to be proccing every single one of these statuses. Multi-shot, we're using magnetic strafe for another status and for fire rate. Critical damage, hold. We do have our valence set to toxin. If you guys do not have a toxin one, remember valence overriding does exist, and that costs 20 plat, or you can buy one from Eleanor, which I think costs 50,000 rep. We are using magazine capacity, and we are using crit chance. We already talked about the base damage. Primary Crux on weak point hits gain 30% status chance and 6% ammo efficiency stacks up to 10 times, meaning 300% status chance and 60% ammo efficiency, which does allow us to use galvanized acceleration because this allows the Kohm to not have ammo economy issues. Go ahead and show this off real quick. Watch out for the dog though. This thing is gonna maybe just kill everything anyways. You guys can see it does have body punch through innately. So this thing is just like a cheese grater for enemies. This thing, it just mows people down Honestly, I've been thinking about renaming this thing to the lawnmower because it's just, I don't know what it is. It's just so satisfying. It's so easy to kill. Let's also talk about the statuses and how easily those stack up. You guys can see with a couple shots there, we have so many statuses on this enemy. And right there, you can just see how insane Contagious Bond with the mecha set is. That's the dog going literally insane. You saw the red mark above his head. See if we can get that to proc again. Gonna have to wait 15 seconds here. I hope we get it in time. There it is. Red mark on their head. And all dead. Really insane. So we have a little bit of a Warframe nuke with our 1 and our 2. Super interesting interaction there. You have Link, which is going to be damage redirection and also armor stripping. This is for you, and then for your whole team, you have Blessing, which is giving everybody 75% damage reduction and fully restoring their health and shields immediately. It's amazing. It's so good. And this scales off of affinity range, so we do not need to build range on this build. We are just using continuity drift for, cunning drift for a little bit of mobility, and for our 1. This does allow our explosion range and range in general to be a little larger, which is nice. We are modding a bunch of ability strength on this build because this does give us more link targets, and it is going to increase our true damage and damage from Mark for Death and Energy Vampire. There's no reason not to build strength on this build because there's not really a lot of other things you're going to need too much of. We do have a lot of duration as well. We have Prime Continuity mixed with Molt Efficiency. If you are playing Trinity right, you will always have your shields up as you can restore them literally whenever. And as you guys saw, you're not really taking a lot of damage, so keeping that shield up is really not going to be hard if you're just using your abilities. Once again, using the augment for that armor strip. Using Blind Rage here. Once again, energy economy doesn't matter because if you just press 1, you press your 2 on an enemy, and if we kill this enemy, there's all my energy. We are at full energy. That is literally incredible. Super nice. Also can give a bunch of energy to your team as well with this. I'm 90% sure. Yes. Yes, you're giving this energy to your teammates as well within the radius. So if you're not going to kill them, killing them expedites the process, but if you just leave it on the enemy, it's going to pulse over time and give you guys energy. Super strong. We are using primed redirection for a little bit more shield here, just to be a little bit more comfortable with our survivability. Once again, we are using shield because it comes with a base 50% damage reduction, which is awesome. The only thing you're going to have to worry about is toxin procs, but I found it not to be too much of a worry, especially with having Blessing and Link here. Prime Flow again, just to boost up our damage, our base energy pool, which is really nice. And 2 mecha mods, adaptation for that extra damage reduction. And Molt Augmented for a little bit more ability strength. Notably, let's talk about some shards, what I'd use on this. I keep saying notably, I don't know why, guys. I'm sorry. What shards I would use on this frame would no question be a casting speed shard. I'm going to show you guys gameplay without a casting speed shard, and hopefully that convinces you guys to use one. I think Trinity's definitely worth using just at least maybe like 1 non-Tauforged or like a Tauforged if you can give it, or even 2 just regular ones. If you really like Trinity, I guess you could use 2 Tauforged. That's going to be up to you. And me personally rather, the shards I would use for the rest of the kit would be either Energy Max, so I don't have to worry about using my 2 as much, or I would go for more ability duration to boost the duration of your 4. Your 4 has actually quite low duration. Even with our buff duration from our Arcane, we are looking at only like 27 seconds here, so keeping that up sometimes can be a little bit tedious, but once you get into higher level content, you are going to be pressing it all the time, and that's when you're definitely going to wish that you had casting speed shards. So definitely, if you plan on taking her to higher level content, take those casting speed shards. Let's talk about some other stuff and why we're not using it on this build. Notably, Oh my gosh, I keep saying notably, but this works for here. Champion's Blessing. Champion's Blessing is so, so bad. The fact that this did not get reworked, it got a duration buff when Trinity got her light rework, her touch up for 1999. But the fact that this did not get reworked to being like shield restored as well, or just like potential healing, it's just, guys, this is really bad. I would not use this. This requires your teammates to be using health tanking builds to fully utilize this. Or you could use combat discipline and use it, but it's so bad. Combat discipline actually like takes into effect damage reduction, damage redirection. So you're only gonna be losing like tops 3 HP every single time you get a kill, which you're probably gonna just pick up a health orb and heal that anyways. Champion's Blessing is just, it's just not good. It is not good. Um, I'm not I'm not a big fan of this really at all. I've tried so hard to make this work because I really love crit weapon platforms, and I think it's really interesting to have a bit of damage in Trinity's base kit, but not base kit, but like having a way to boost her damage with an augment sounded awesome. But in practice, this just does not work well. Vampire Leech is also another really strong augment. I actually was using that over Umbral Intensify for the longest time, but once I switched to Mark for Death and this Energy Vampire setup, I am enjoying Umbral Intensify more. But this is really strong. This will give you shield instead of energy if you have max energy from your 2, so it's just another form of survivability. Uh, but let's also talk about some additional helmet options. So, if you really want to, you can use Null Star and combine this with Hot Shot. And the reason why I think this is pretty good on this frame is this is already a damage reduction frame. So getting another 75, so that's 75, 75, 75. That's a lot. Combine that with adaptation, like you're just going to be dying even less than I was showing with this build. And if you want to have more of a weapons platform, but also not be giving up your survivability, I think this is pretty fun. And for this last spot down here, I think a great mod option is Archon Vitality. I do not have the polarity set up to do this properly, but right here I have an unleveled one, and for all intents and purposes, your guys' could be unleveled as well, because the bonus that we're looking for is the double heat status effects, or doubling heat status effects, so you can actually kill with your one. It's pretty strong. I would do probably a build like this, and we can show this off real quick. I'm going to go ahead and disable the dog because the dog's just going to kill everything anyways. You're not even going to understand what's going on with the build. But here's an Orc in battle group. Go ahead and press my 1. We are already at max hot shot. Really nice. And we are getting crit chance as well. As you guys can see here, we do not have our companion on, so we did lose a lot of fire rate, so the Kohm is struggling. Make sure you're going to be using reinforced spawn on that companion. As you guys can see, definitely needed for that fire rate. Crit chance is great. Just press your 1 whenever you want to recast it. You can also kill with this, especially against the armor stripped enemies. I mean, it's definitely interesting, and this would work really well at lower levels, so I think taking Archon Vitality is a good call. We'll show what this looks like against non-steel path enemies here. Show like level 45. That's what you would be on Mott. And let me come over here, cast my 1. As you guys can see, this absolutely kills, so pretty fun. Pretty fun. Nice build. We did show off this helmet on another build, so I was going to avoid this for the main build of this video. But there you go. It is another option. If you guys like this build and it seems interesting to you to be boosting crits, we're using Combat Discipline on this build with Avenger, and we're using Hot Shot. If you would like to, you can switch out a baiting link or Champion's Blessing and try to get value from this, because it's going to be more crit chance. It's just going to be hard to get any type of like any notable number of crit chance at all. Notable is another good usage right there. Let me show that off, what I mean by that, because Guys, I just got 14% crit chance by healing myself right there. Uh, this isn't flat crit chance either. This is modded crit chance, so it's not good. I would stick to not using Champion's Blessing, but don't let me poop on your parade if it seems fun. Take off adaptation by all means if you really want to. Uh, probably do something like this with double augments. Probably run up this. Let's try this out real quick, just for the video. There we go. We did just straight up gain health there, unfortunately. But now if I press my 4, there you go. Now we got 32% crit chance, guys. So that's big stuff. But sad thing about this build too is by using combat discipline, you're healing your teammates. So if they were having survivability issues before, now they're not, and you're not getting to utilize Champion's Blessing off them. This augment doesn't work well. It's just, as you guys just saw, I just don't think it's great. If you want to try this build with Champion's Blessing, this is probably the build I'd aim for max crit chance. And if you just want to boost a secondary out of this world, you could even use Topaz Shards. Right here, you could use 5 Tauforged Topaz. I would keep a casting speed, though, but that's up to you. For crit chance as well, and I guess you could just start, like, triple red critting with every single weapon ever. But good luck getting this going once again. Let's go back to the main build, and I think we're just going to get into some gameplay, guys. This was a lot of yap just about Trinity. One thing that we didn't go over is her passive. Her passive is actually pretty interesting. It's a health boost to your teammates within affinity range. This is really helpful during Eidolons. Same with Blessing. Not really as much anymore, because who does Eidolons anymore anyways, but it's nice. It's nice. It's going to be max health for your teammates, so if they have health tanking builds for some reason, you know, they're getting boosted, and they will appreciate having a Trinity on their squad. I mean, they would definitely appreciate having one on their squad anyways, just because of your Blessing. Blessing's just nice to have, kind of, even if you're doing shield gating, because it does restore shield for your teammates. But without any more yapping, let's just kind of get into some gameplay here, and show you guys that it absolutely can perform, and that the Kuva Kohm can perform. I do like Trinity a lot, though, because with this build, we are kind of required to use our abilities a lot, because we are going to die if we do not have our 4 up or our 3 up, and if you aren't going to get energy unless you use your 2. So I like that part. Trinity's a really involved Warframe, especially with this type of a build where you do not have like any energy economy and you have to get it from your 2. I mean, there you go, guys. I mean, you just saw 1 million there, which is like nothing. It's just gonna keep getting crazier and crazier if it does continue to cascade. But that is the power of the dog and how strong it really is. I didn't even get to utilize the 1 and the 2 there. We'll see if we can get a good example of it. But the problem with this dog is every single time you want to try to utilize it, you're probably going to just kill everything anyways. Kind of can get an idea for it right there. Right there just did like half of their health. Like I said, better in the Simulacrum. I feel like this ability setup might just be way better in the Sim and look a lot better in the Sim. Especially when you have a dog that's killing literally everything. Oh, no, there we go. There you go, guys. There's a little energy vampire nuke gameplay. Not much of a nuke, more of just like a bomb. Nothing nuclear about this at all. And look at that, guys. We already cannot keep up our abilities. And we let our dog die because of it, because I'm a bad player. But let's try to actually stop that so we can actually keep our dog up, because that's the thing that I was talking about being nice with this build. But you can just spam her 4 and just pretty much be good for life on survivability. It's awesome. You get a really long shield gate with this build because we have really high shield max. And there's no reason not to build shield capacity, because you're going to restore all of it with any type of ability strength at all. I don't know what base restoration is, but I've never had trouble hitting the 100%. Sorry, I can't give you guys the numbers on that right now. But if you look up top right, you guys can see that my dog is being affected by Blessing. I can restore his shields whenever, and kind of do whatever whenever. The the mark for death energy vampire definitely is goofy, but it is an option. It's pretty cool, pretty fun, and it's nice thinking that it is percentage based damage, so this is gonna work at any level of content. That's cool. But for other helmet options that you guys could try, we showed off Null Star and how that can be nice, especially if you're using Hotshot. Not everybody has Hotshot, so if not, you know, all good. If you really want to use Nourish, you can. It does synergize nicely with her 2, but her 2 is giving max energy all the time anyways. And it's kind of just removing the need for your 2, so at that point you might as well take off your 2 and use Well of Life. Well of Life is really strong too. Actually, we don't talk about it in this video, but I quite like Well of Life. It's gonna recreate. It's gonna make an enemy like float in the air, and that enemy is going to kind of give you like lifesteal to or healing. Let's go ahead and Trinity. So Well of Life is going to give you lifesteal and health per second if you stand within its radius. Pretty strong. Especially when you go for like more of a health tank build than a shield tank build, and if you're not like spamming your 4 so much. But it kind of feels a little redundant to have like 3 abilities for survivability. That's why I think maybe that the Null Star build is a little bit much. I mean, all you need is Blessing. That's literally all you need on this whole build. Blessing is so incredibly strong for you and your teammates. I love it. Works for any type of survivability for your teammates. Like if they're shield gating, I mean, this just doesn't hurt to have. If they're health tanking, it's amazing to have. I love it, and I love that it scales off of affinity range, which means it does not have like line of sight checks. It also means you don't have to build range on this frame, when I find range to be a little weird, especially with the 3rd ability. If you have too high of range, it'll never unlink you from your targets that you had. That's a little awful in my opinion. But you guys can see the Kohm definitely really strong weapon here. And once we get to fighting an Acolyte, did we already fight an Acolyte? No, we have not. Once we get to an Acolyte, you'll see it's pretty easy to just stay alive against them. And we can use the Kohm to kill them and our dog. But our KPM's actually pretty decent, even though we have barely been killing with our actual weapons. It's just been mainly the dog. The dog's at least 50% of this. I mean, you guys can see when the cascade happens, it's pretty awesome. Really fun in my opinion. I like this build style. I really like it on Citron too, because you're able to buff your companion status chance even further. And I think that's gonna be it for the Trinity video. She's not a boring frame. But I do wish she had a little bit more going on with her augments, specifically Champion's Blessing. I would really like a touch up on that augment a little bit further than we got in 1999 with just the duration. Because I think with that, you could really make a really interesting build and warrant using Nova's Null Star more. Obviously, you could just use like a Dariga for doing heat procs or any companion for heat procs, but I just find this a little bit more interesting to use the abilities, so that's why I use Null Star on my Stynex build and why I used it on this build, as it allows you to kind of bring whatever companion you want. Once again, this has been Trinity. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for whoever suggested Trinity. I hope this build was interesting to you. Maybe you like the idea of killing with companions. Oh gosh. That's going to be really big numbers that I don't even understand here really soon. 700 million? 600 million? Damage cap? Damage cap? Damage cap? Damage cap? There you go, guys. Great ending to the video. You got to see the damage cap. I don't even want to know how much damage I was doing, because it's like multiplying every single time. So, yeah, crazy stuff, guys. You can check logs to see how much damage you're doing when stuff like that does happen, but It's really fun. I think this build's really fun. I'm happy I get to show off Contagious Spawn. If you guys haven't seen how that works with the mecha set, oh my gosh, I'm happy I get to show you because it is super strong. It's been like this now since the companion rework, like the part 2 of the companion rework with the claws and like all that stuff. Actually, it may have been part 1. Can't really remember, but pretty sure as long as this mod has been in the game. Oh, that was part 1, I think. I don't know. I don't know. You guys saw how it works. It's incredible. Totally give the companion a try at least. And if you want to buff that companion on a frame that is different than Citron, here you go. Here's a really fun build for that. While also keeping your allies up and yourself, and having a little kind of goofy nuke right here, and armor strip, crazy survivability. I mean, what else you need, I guess. If you like Trinity, here you go. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. Thank you so much for watching. Goodbye.